that has caught the public imagination and comes to mind whenever anybody talks about competition law and policy. What is a closely guarded secret and is hidden from view is that in fact modern competition laws really promote business enterprise. They facilitate business growth. And the main beneficiaries are actually business enterprises. It would be wrong to assume, for example, that the reference to consumers in our competition law is only with respect to the lay consumer at the retail or individual level. Let me explain to you a little in 2 sentences. Business enterprises sit on both sides of the demand-supply equation. They are producers and suppliers, and they're also consumers. So consumers are up and down the supply chain. They're all consumers, and they all need this law. I know for a fact, since I have been actively involved in foreign direct investment into developing countries, during the nearly 2 decades I spent in IFC, the International Finance Corporation, that the foreign strategic investor or the foreign technical partner, if you like, the other term, would very much like to see an adequate and properly enforced competition law and a level playing field within which to operate. In fact, the absence of an effective competition regime in any country is now looked upon as a grave lacuna in the investment climate of that country. It really is a dog-eat-dog world, and from the little that I have seen, Pakistan has more than its share of manipulative practices which seem to have become a way of life. And if you think about it with a reasonable dose of cynicism, then the reasonable conclusion is that this is perhaps the only way to live and thrive, at least for some of us. By no means am I suggesting that we are unique or abominable. There are many countries, including some developed ones, with a business environment that is very similar to ours. All over the world, a large part of the business paradigm is to make money through exploiting distortions or through manipulation. I'm in fact reminded of the New York adage, if there is no conflict, there can't be any interest. However, this sort of business paradigm is hardly normal, it is suboptimal, and you miss a large part of the upside. To constrict, contain, and reduce this paradigm, and instead to grow the normal, healthy, free interplay of competitive forces on a level playing field is actually a challenge for the entire business community, business managers, and for the regulators. There is clearly far more to be gained than by succumbing to the laws of the jungle, where even big fats can die of starvation. Anti-competitive behavior, especially cartelization, saps the vitals of the private sector and the economy as a whole. If we are to depend on a market-based economy, and if we are to depend on the private sector as the engine for growth, an adequate competition law and its effective implementation are a must. You can't get away from it. Competition is at the core of the market system, and without contestability, rivalry, without economic agents competing with each other on a level playing field, productivity is bound to suffer, and so is the consumer. All responsible governments around the globe rely on competition to deliver a robust economy and to help drive economic growth. An important element of modern economic management is the institution of policies that harness the process of competition and eschew those that actually seek to subvert it. Lack of contestability and rivalry amongst economic agents, and their efforts to avoid and exclude competition, which is endemic, it happens all the time, in our country anyway. This is really at the root of that's Pakistan's economic ills. Because over the past decade, productivity has been going down. And it's all because of lack of competition between economic agents. And it is due to this that the economy is actually intrinsically weak and simply got devastated by adverse exogenous factors a couple of years ago. Competition and rivalry based upon quality and price allows for new competitors and to enter the field, which increases innovation and of course which creates jobs, and that means of course greater purchasing power, the market expands, it's a win-win situation. I don't have to get into all that. The government of Pakistan realizes the importance of competition and deserves to be commended for putting in place the Competition Ordinance 2007, which is really a state-of-the-art law if you look at it, if you know a little bit about the subject, and has been globally acknowledged as such within the ICN, that is the International Competition Network. And we are really quite proud of this law. The way the law has been structured, it really is the essence of what humankind knows about this subject. It's for a market economy to cater to efficient use of resources, competitive forces must be allowed to operate freely on a level playing field. And I understand there is a lot of literature that supports this view. And it is for this reason that the government of Pakistan has tried to strengthen its framework to enforce competition laws, the norms and standards. For the flag bearer for all this, which the government has set up, is the Competition Commission of Pakistan, or CCP as the acronym, which is designed to be a quasi-judicial, quasi-regulatory law enforcement agency. Essentially, the CCP is a law enforcement agency. It is a cross-cutting across all regulators, whether regulated or unregulated, whether, across all sectors. It covers the whole economy. It is mandated to enforce free competition in all spheres of economic activity. As I said, it could be the public sector, the private sector, the official documented economy or the undocumented economy. It covers everything. And the whole idea is to enforce economic or to enhance economic efficiency and protect the consumer from anti-competitive behavior. The law establishing CCP, that is the Competition Ordinance 2007, is based on the principles enshrined in the Treaty of Rome, that's the European Treaty, the European Economic Treaty, Articles 81 and 82 to be precise, and global best practices. With proper implementation of this law, there is little doubt that not only would CCP become a competition agency of near global standard, we are very close, I can tell you that, but also a palpable and visible change in business conduct to a free market, to a free competition orientation should be discernible. And that is the aim which we are all headed towards.